Your Saturday morning is here, and you've got your coffee, I hope. Some people maybe not tuned in the morning, but you're tuned in at some other time. But that's okay. You're still here with us, and we're doing that thing, right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and read some comments and everything. And so in this episode, we have movie time. Yes. Hopefully you've read the title and everything. So we got movie time coming to you, and you know that here on the channel and everything. That's what we love the most. Definitely have a lot of romance with the films of yesteryear and the firearms that blew up the screen as well. Literally made it so amazing. I mean, what would a Dirty Harry film be without a Model 29? All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and read the comments. No particular order. Again, if your comment was not read, it was either you're just commented after the fact that we did the production of the show or anything like that, or it just didn't make it on the list for some reason. It got held back, or you know, it's just too rated R. Okay, here we go. All right, the Scottish American. A time capsule in your hand, such a perfect description. Yeah, that's, I mean, you're holding something that will never be made again. That's just the way I feel about that. I mean, you cannot, some of those older Colts and stuff, I mean, that was made during a time where things just had pride, craftsmanship, work of art, fit and finish. I mean, everything. You cannot, no modern gun is ever going to be able to touch that. And I know, and it sounds like I just knock modern guns all the time. They have their place. I'm not a fan, but you know, that's just me. But there are other people that are, and more power to them. But for me, I'm not a fan. All right. Continue on with your comment. The souls of these firearms have so many stories to tell. Yes, they do. I wish they could talk, because we could sit there and listen to the old Colt and say, hey, tell me some stuff. All right. It is always so cool when I can handle another piece of history. It is, you know, especially I like a lot of those. I got like a 1930s Colt 1911 commercial market gun, and boy, what a great, amazing piece of craftsmanship. I mean, by today's standards, that 1911 is built just amazing. All right, we got a comment here by Mike. Always enjoy your show. JW, I am a retired LEO who was also a firearms instructor with my agency. I can run the modern stuff very well, but since retirement, I've gone back to my roots. Wheel guns and historic autos such as the 1911. Wood and steel, just pleasing. Yes, all about that. I've always joked that because when I go to like a gun show or something like that, which is rare these days, I'll be rolling through, and I mean literally, like I just scan, and the minute I see wood and steel, that's when I stop. And CZ 9mm USA did a comment back to him, very, very nice, from a retired deputy. Yes. So Beretta 9mm USA's other channel. He's also got CZ 9mm USA and Legion of Tools, I believe, as he's doing his tool stuff. So he's got 3 channels going. Boy, man, I tell you, I can barely keep up with my channel here, and then of course I have my other one going on. So, all right, here we go. We got Danger Man. I'm sort of interested in that new PPK. You know, I've got to say, I was very pleased with it. I like it because it's modern, it's newer built. Now, yeah, I like the finish. Personally, I like the finish. I had no gripes about the finish. That little extension that they did with the so you don't get slide bite is fine with me. I have a big romance with the James Bond movies and stuff like that. So you know that. Going in, but I'm a big fan. I have no, to me, I had an Inner Arms, one of those imported ones under license and all that. I didn't care for it. It had a lot of feeding issues, and the magazine would fall out during firing. And then I handled legit PPKs. I just, you know, I mean, one I saw that had a plum brown slide. But again, that goes to the thing where a legit PPK, I'm not willing to shell out thousands of dollars for one of those. I'm just not. So that I'm glad that new PPK is on the market. The modifications on this are acceptable, and I agree. It has some improvements. No slide bite. I had the inner arms one that was terrible. Oh, wow. What a surprise. I had also a feed jam on the 4th round, and it drove me nuts and got rid of it. You know, it's funny. That's exactly the symptoms I had with mine. Even though, you know, I just had it for the James Bond effect, so, but I don't know. I just, it was just not quite, it wasn't, I don't know. I ended up just getting rid of it. I still have my 22, and that's kind of where I sat with that for a while. All right, Sean Lee, Saturday morning coffee and gun talk. Always a nice way to start the weekend. Yes, it is. And the traffic is already going this morning like crazy. Harrison Mantooth, good morning, Bad Jack. Sorry to be joining your program so late. I slept in this morning. That's nothing wrong with that for a Saturday morning. Always enjoy watching, listening to your Saturday radio program. You and I have some similarities in what we like and don't like. You mentioned that you live in a dry climate. I'm guessing Arizona. You also mentioned that you visit shops, gun shops that feature older firearms. I'm going to be in Peoria, Phoenix later this coming fall. If any of these shops you like happen to be in that area, I will be in. I'd love to know their names. I have a 03 FFL license. This was an awesome video this morning. Thanks for sharing some light on your humble beginnings, Stan. Yeah, you know, Stan, the places I visit are in Pima County. So Phoenix, you're going to be a little ways, and the sirens are going. Pima County is going to be a little bit of, not too much of a drive, maybe a couple hours. But if you do want to, I highly suggest to go visit. If I was going to make a recommendation on one of them, I would go and see Frontier Gun Shop. I actually have a video on the channel of his place, Frontier Gun Shop. He is a wonderful gentleman, a true throwback. That is a gun shop that is a time capsule in itself. You definitely are not going to go in there and find modern or polymer guns. You are going to find guns of yesteryear, and you definitely are. If you love that stuff, you are going to go in there and just lose your mind. So if you do want to take a few hour drive, highly recommend that place. All right. Slimfire 54, awesome video talk show. JW, I got my coffee in my hands, ready to listen. Have a great weekend. Slim, thank you for listening and tuning in, Slim. All right. Hey, Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe. You know, we have the other cup here, too, for Joe. We just haven't, it hasn't made the show for a while. I just, because I always have that one over by the maker. It's probably because, you know, getting up for work and just like, you know, I don't know. All right. I bought a Ruger SR22 about 10 years ago and have nothing but problems with it. Wow. Oh, the SR22. I'm sorry. I thought you meant a 1022. I'm like, a 1020. But yeah, you know, well, you know, that's why I have the older Mark II Ruger standard, whatever you want to call it. The one that looks like the thing from Assassins with Sylvester Stallone, Antonio Banderas, directed by the late Richard Donner. Because that thing just feeds anything. I literally have fed and it cycled shorts. I mean, literally, I couldn't believe it myself, but I fired CCI shorts in it, and it worked. CB shorts, whatever they call them, little carnival pistol round. But had nothing but problems with it. New springs, a variety of ammo, and detailed cleanings did not help. I can't get through a 10-round mag without failure. I really enjoy shooting 22s, but it may be time to look for a 22 revolver. Yeah, definitely. Joe, when you're looking for a 22 revolver, you probably already know or whatnot. First of all, a couple of things. Check out the firing pin. make sure nobody was sitting there dry firing it and pecking the outer rims of the chambers. Also, when you look at the cylinder, if you look at the face of the revolver, how you do it is you can pull the release latch back, or however it does to release it. All right, and then that way you can operate the hammer with it back. I'm sorry, you can't really see that, but you can actuate that cylinder release without having to, with the cylinder open. See, what I'm getting at is where the firing pin lines up. If it's going on the bottom or it's going on top, whatever, and then check out the cylinder, see if there's any peck marks in there, because that'll tell you right there if it, because with a 22 revolver, if it's got a chamber that's been pecked a little bit or something like that, it's not going to fire on that one. It's gonna have a lot of light strikes or something like that. Is what I'm saying. So just kind of look into that. Make sure you're not going to run into that. So. But yeah, I love 22 revolvers. You know, Smith 34 kit gun and stuff like that. Even some of the older Taurus, where they're you almost can't tell that they're a Taurus from a Smith. Those are really nice. All right, KSFWG. I'm old school. Nothing but Neat's foot oil for my leather. Yeah, and you know, Neat's. I do have a thing of Neat's foot oil. It's good stuff. And if you use the Prime, I think it's the Prime Neat's foot oil, it does have other additives, and it will, you know, darken your leather a little more so than usual. But grew up using it, and I see no reason to stop using it now. And now at the age of 70, if it works, it works, right? Don't fix it. I've been retired since October 1st, 2011, so every day is Saturday. That's awesome. CZ 9mm USA, I enjoy these even a day or two late. Good to see you, buddy. God bless. Beretta 9mm USA Senior. All right. Lion Quest Fitness, allergies, a tablespoon of a day of local grown raw honey works wonders. Yes, I have actually heard that out here, and been meaning to pick up a thing of local grown honey. And but yeah, I heard that. Back when I was working a different job, we were talking about that, and one of the ladies in lawn and garden area, she ended up doing that. All right, Jeffrey Richardson, have you seen the new Henry revolvers? Old school, good, looking good for us older souls. Yes, I did see those. I'm very curious on getting my hands on one and actually checking it out. When it comes to, like, anytime, you know, I love the, I mean, it looks like they're doing the old blued and wooden grips and everything. It's all about the lines and how they look to me. If it looks a little too weird, I may not like it or not. I got to really check it out in my hands and see, because it really, when it comes to that stuff, I have a real specific look I like, and it's got to be that old school look. It can't just, you know, there's a lot of modern takes on revolvers out there, and I feel that they lost the lines and the outlook of the whole look of the revolver. CZ 9mm USA says, I want to test one out. Thanks for bringing it up. Yes, we'll be looking for a video on him testing one out then. All right, Waterhead 1. Do you conceal carry or really don't carry for defense? Thanks. You know, I carry the PPK. Speaking of it, I do like that PPK. I've been carrying it mainly because it's really cool. It's like feeling like you're James Bond or something like that. But yeah, you know, that worked. But my other jobs, you know, where they required you to carry, was an open carry thing. So, but, you know, that was part of the thing. And that I carried my Springfield Armory Ronin 1911 Commander variant, lightweight 9mm. All right, which is my favorite. One of my favorite 1911s to just blast and carry, and it's just such a, you know, that package is just, you know, if you've never tried one, that's the hot ticket right there. All right, the Bohemian Hunting Club, good morning. All right, Keith Stevens, good morning. Okay, and that's all the comments that I've got for this week. They're definitely getting longer, right? But yes, we brought out a whole bunch of stuff. Let me get the this because we got some stuff that's still got some. I coat a lot of stuff in ballistol when I store them away. That's because that's coming from that's residuals from living on an island for you, where you go into your safe and you pull things out and they're just like covered in rust, and you just go, oh, yeah. It just old habits die hard, So all that, but it is it's a movie gun this time, and you probably already know. And that's why we kind of brought out a couple of other ones here. The Colt, array, if you will. A couple of Colt snubbies here. This is they're all in the D frame. If you're familiar with Colt's frame work, I believe the Python is the I frame. This is the D frame. The D frame in comparison to the Smith lineup, because Smith had an I-frame early on, but it's pretty much non-existent. I believe it was slightly smaller than their J-frame, but Smiths go J, K, L, and X. I believe that's the way it lines up now from small to large. Colt used the D-frame. The D-frame was kind of almost in the middle of their K and J in comparison to speaking Smith kind of language, but the one thing about where the detective specials and stuff in the like this one, Colt Agent, kind of shined over the Smiths in a way, is these held 6 rounds, and they were kind of still slightly smaller than a K frame, so that's kind of where they shine. Where the Smith, the Chief Special, the 36 or whatnot, it only held 5. Old school detective special, we brought one of these out here, just where the exposed ejector rod and all that, and this one here is it's got the full grip, frame grip, versus I believe these here have what they call a half grip there. So those are different, especially the Diamondback. It has a half of a frame on the grip, so it only comes down about this much in there. You can see here the Diamondback grip is all housed together. It's all in here. They are very expensive these days if you're trying to get a new one, and of course with the age and everything, you never know, but there are companies that are making pretty good repops of them, and I'm definitely a big fan of a lot of those. All right, but what we're talking about is for me, this has been a real kind of one of those that's been on the list, on the radar for a long time, and I just never got one, or never never really, pun intended, pulled the trigger on one, because they were like ridiculously expensive. I seen them at shows, and when I would see them, it was just like, whoa, like, we're talking 35 to $4,000. Like, what in the world is going on? Why? And so I finally picked up my snubby Colt Diamondback. Yes, the BULLITT gun. That's it. And a lot of people definitely would not understand purchasing something strictly because of a movie, and that's exactly the only romance it has with me, is the BULLITT, the Steve McQueen and BULLITT, 1968, probably the greatest car chase scene ever. But yes, Steve McQueen, this is what he's carrying. It's basically the 2.5-inch barreled Colt Diamondback, and you can see the grips. It's what they call that partial frame. It doesn't go all the way down, and it stops right there. And it's got the original grips and everything on it, so that is wonderful. Look at those grips. Get the camera right. But what a wonderful piece. Took a chance on this one because I had to actually get it online. The pictures that this guy took of this thing did not serve it justice at all, because this thing is in pristine shape. I mean, excellent condition. There wasn't even a turn ring on the cylinder. Of course, I did that myself. But just, I mean, I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to enjoy this thing. I don't, it may have been unfired, but not in my hands anymore. I'm gonna probably, gonna have to shoot it. I'm sorry. This is just something, one of those that, because as much of the stuff I do get rid of, it's kind of narrowing things down for me, and this is a keeper. This has been too long trying to find one of these things, but now that I'm not going to say, I'm going to say it in a way that the prices have dropped. They're not cheap, but they're not $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 anymore. At least the ones that I've seen that are like, you're going to be pulling the plastic off yourself out of the box and everything. But loose guns like this, just loose, are kind of coming down. I noticed that they're right around the 15 to 18 mark right there, which is not cheap, but it's not just like totally unobtainium out there in Pluto, kind of like, whoa, what, like whoever made up that price, you're on drugs, So yeah, it's kind of come down. At least what I've seen. The prices are still, they're still kind of bouncing up there a little bit, with the snake guns. But I think with the introduction that Colt has been doing, with coming back around with the Cobra, the Python, the Anaconda, and all that, which I hope they continue going. And I checked out that Anaconda, and I'm not gonna lie, I really got itchy, and I kind of want one real bad. I kind of want that 6-inch barreled one, because I checked it out. I mean, that was the one thing everybody feared was, oh, they're not going to have the craftsmanship and the when you pull the hammer back. I can tell you, I pulled the hammer back on the Python, or both the Python and the Anaconda. Don't do it, because you're going to end up buying one, and I think that's what's happened. It kind of got the market down a little bit. Now I'm a collector. I like the old stuff. I love them, but I also it was just hard for me because people were just gouging the hell out of people for the prices. They were just, I mean, it's like, somebody was trying to sell you a Python. It was like, man, what are you trying to do? Buy a house? Or put a down payment on a house or something? Like what's going on here? But I love it, because as a buyer myself, and I want more of you to be able to get stuff and afford to get things. And I love when the prices just kind of come down to kind of a normal or somewhat of an obtainium, price market there, or at least something where you can throw a little chunk at the layaway if the place that you're shopping at allows a layaway, because the layaway is awesome. But yeah, you'd be able to just, at least get your hands in the pot. Maybe you may not be able to get the bowl and walk with your table yet, but at least you got something going on there. So that's what I'm a big fan of that. So yes, this was kind of one of those that was on the bucket list, and that bucket list is getting pretty shallow now. So it's nice. I actually ended up getting this snake, and now this snake, it lives at my home with me, so that's awesome. Now I got both of my Diamondbacks that I really wanted, Brannigan and Bullitt. There it is, and that's it. Didn't really have any other interest in it other than those two movies. That's just me, and of course Popeye Doyle. And this one, this is my uncle's gun, and this I can't get rid of. It belonged to my uncle. He gave it to me before I moved, and so that's just kind of an heirloom for me. But yes, Bullitt. The funny thing about that movie is, and those of you that are fans of the movie or watch the movie, you hardly see this gun in it. You really don't. It's not like Dirty Harry, where you saw it almost every action sequence. You saw it. Bullitt, you don't. I wish that you would have saw it more. Damn it! But I tell you, think about it. Looking back at it, think about this. I kind of skimmed through it just the other day. I watched it again. I'm telling you, you don't really see this thing. There's a scene where he's putting he puts the shoulder holster rig on, which I've got the shoulder holster rig. So there's a scene where he's putting this thing on, and you only see the handle, the grip sticking out. You don't actually see the thing. So for all you know, it could have been just a detective special. so you don't really see it. And it's not until, I mean, even when he's chasing the guy with the shotgun in the hospital, even when he's chasing him, you see him kind of reach up there like he's gonna pull the thing, but he doesn't, and he just kind of runs around, chases him. Not until the final scene at the airport is when he actually draws the thing out. Even then, you don't really see it. Not until he actually gets the guy between the glass doors and whatnot and puts 2 rounds in him. I think he shoots the thing twice. I know if you look at it, it's actually more realistic, you know, in that aspect because, you know, a cop's not going to run around brandishing his firearm all over the place. But notice he puts it away right away after the shooting is done, and he kicks it, you know, all that kind of stuff. And notice how after he shoots him, he kind of brings the muzzle down and follows him to the ground and kind of waits. You know, so there was definitely, and I do believe his character is based on, I forgot that guy's name, Tosi. He was the guy that headed up and investigated the Zodiac killer. It was the whole rig and everything, the upside down rig, that was based on his rig, and that's what's so cool about it. It's actually, if you look at it carefully in the picture, you see that top part where it's a little darker. That's because this is the rig he's carrying right there, which has got that piece right there. So, you know who I actually got that from? I got that from our buddy Mr. Holster. Mr. Holster sent that to me. So I've always kept it, and it's that's kind of really cool to have it with all this. But yeah, that's the old school rig, and that's where his character is kind of based on. And a lot of other cops that kind of did that, they based their stuff on him. Kind of like if you like the films and stuff like that, Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte. If you haven't seen that, that's an awesome movie. His whole thing, he based his whole thing on Ranger Jackson. So that, you know, in fact, his whole getup, his whole look, the holsters, the gun, everything, the grips, based on Ranger Jackson. So really cool how these guys, you know, in the films and stuff would, you know, go and meet the real people and start, you know, emulating them and working with them and portraying them kind of on screen. So it's kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot. So, but yeah, as you probably can tell, really big into the films, and it reflects on a lot of the firearms that I like. It kind of comes from the old school movies and whatnot. So, you know, just as a young kid watching that stuff and growing up, and then to actually have them and mess with them and play with them, that's really cool. And that's kind of where it lands with me. I love that stuff. So anyway, look out for we'll do a video at some point with this thing. But you guys that tune into the Collectors Radio always get to see things first. So I appreciate you coming around and checking it out. And yes, Bullitt.